and welcome to the Lenovo Work Reborn podcast, where we explore how technology, AI, and cybersecurity are reshaping the way we work. This segment of our tour, we are back at it again, live in London, interviewing top IT leaders. Each episode, we're going to bring you insights from real leaders and industry experts on how organizations can navigate today's challenges and unlock tomorrow's opportunities. From making sense of complex data, to simplifying IT environments, to delivering real business outcomes, Lenovo is helping businesses of every size reimagine what's possible. Join us as we dive into the future of work. Work Reborn. Let's go. And welcome to the Work Reborn podcast live in London. My name is Rita, your host today, and I'm joined with our lovely guest. Would you mind saying your name, who you are, and what you do?
Indeed, yeah. Hi, my name is Will Morrish. I'm the CRO at a company called Covert Swarm. We do offensive cybersecurity services. We work with enterprises of all sides, and we kind of do everything that's illegal to people. If it's something that you are going to go to prison for, we will largely do it.
Wow.
But we only do it for the people that pay us to do it to them. And it's quite good. We work around all enterprises of many different sizes. And I know you've got some questions about what people are seeing in the industry. And we've probably got a slightly different take because we effectively, if we weren't on the white hat side, we'd probably be in prison.
Interesting. So would love to hear your differing perspective. We had basically, for our viewers, we interviewed over 600 senior IT leaders on various topics: AI, cybersecurity, IT, tech, just the whole gambit. And we have a few fun facts, if you will, that we decided to kind of chit-chat about. So
Great, sounds
why don't
good.
we get started with the first one?
Awesome.
Let's get cracking. Okay. All right, so first one. According to Lenovo's Work Reborn survey, more than half of respondents said that the use of AI by cyber criminals is increasing cybersecurity risk. How is your team thinking about this threat, or what's your take on that?
Absolutely, yeah. It's hugely evolving the way that sort of the cybersecurity industry's changing at the moment, and also just the risk to the enterprise. So anybody involved in IT, we're all using AI more and more. This isn't a linear growth. This is an explosive exponential growth that we're seeing with the use of AI. And I think one thing that people sometimes fail to think about is that hackers, they are an enterprise in themselves. They have HR departments, they have recruitment processes, they are a business. And so they, like anybody else, are using tools to go quicker. I'd say there's a couple of things of where AI is interesting and it's fun and a bit scary. Obviously using AI to clone voices and other pieces. From a consumer level, that's really scary.
That is scary, yeah.
The older generations where they could be called up with somebody pretending to be their bank, that was one human calling one human trying to manipulate them with a 0.5% success rate.
Yeah.
You can now do AI-based multiple threads to do that. You could be calling 10,000 people simultaneously. And if the click rate's still 0.5%, they're going to keep doing more and more.
Right.
So that was where there were some initial things, but now it's getting more scary. I think if you see some of the most recent attacks, like in the UK, Marks and Spencer's and others, the way that an attack used to happen is the bad guys used to get in, they'd sit there quietly, and over a period of time, they would effectively slowly instill themselves and get control within the enterprise. And in doing so, they would then get C2, command and control elsewhere, and they would then choose the right point to strike.
It was like more of a gradual process?
Absolutely, yeah. And if you go back and look like the British Airways were hacked 3, 4, 5 years ago, I can't recall the time frame. The mop-up from that exercise is the attackers had been in for 3 years and finding the right point to go. The same also when you look at Maersk Shipping. The timelines on these is the attackers had been in and they just hadn't been caught in time. And so a lot of the security industry is built on the idea of detect, defend, respond, remediate. And if you look at the normal sort of architecture that you've got within a SOC, the sort of 60-minute golden period of where it's the case of, we've detected something that might be bad. It goes in front of the SOC. We're going to triage it. Is it really bad or is it the noise? Because telemetry on security is kind of difficult. And if it is, then we go and respond. The challenge that you're now seeing, and this going back to the AI piece, is agentic-based AI attacks. The minute they've got in actually then to use agents to go incredibly quick to get the command and control, to carry out and start to do the data exfiltration, to start to actually encrypt the services. All of this is going to happen in a shorter and shorter time frame. So
and it's going to be harder for teams to manage then if that's the case.
It will be pointless for teams to manage. I actually think we will get to the point in a short time of the traditional SOC, of where a SOC triages incidents and makes a decision tree on how they're going to respond. I think AI is going to get to the point of that time frame is going to get to be almost negligible, which I think changes very much the way the enterprise needs to think about cybersecurity. Is it needs to be a lot more automated. You need to be doing a lot more testing, which again goes back to what we do. Is you can't trust these days that you will detect and have enough time to respond. And in which case, you've got to be testing your tools, your process, your technology, your people, of doing all the right things to lower that initial attack vector. Because that initial attack vector could be the only one that's needed to get to a company ending or massively impacting event.
Yeah, I think from other conversations that we've had too, we've talked about using AI to predict AI cyber attacks too, and like you're saying, automation will be crucial to being able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is it. And then you can say about the AI versus AI to do the response. I don't think the time will be there. I think the point is it's about everybody uses the tools to go quicker and faster. And I think it's the point of the initial attack to actually getting to the point of what the attack is trying to achieve is going to be so small. So for the attackers, they're using AI to work out their next steps in the attack. But I think as the defenders effectively that the enterprises are of their systems, it's what can they use internally to think ahead of about their risk. And so a lot of that thinks is, what are my crown jewels? Sorry, using very much a British paradigm.
I like it. We're in London.
Yeah, you're in London. That's it. What are the crown jewels, or what are the Fort Knox within your business, right? What is the thing that is most going to cause you pain and danger? And so if you look through sort of what's your risk register, is it exposure of PII, exposure of patient data? Is it actually looking at, you know what, we're a finance system. If our finance treasury system gets broken, and then think, what is the attacker going to do? Well, actually, they want to steal the money, they want to steal the data, they want to hold you to ransom, and then work back from what those objectives are, and then harden from that point. You often see a lot of testing starts at, well, let's just kick from the outside. Let's try and find that little hole in. Yeah, useful. But if that little hole in and the data's all the way over here, start the data, start to protect that. Build your security onion from the stuff out, as well as from the outside in.
You know what? I liked that analogy. I think you should lean into that more.
It is.
With the crown
jewel. I've got the inside-out onion. The other one is the egg versus the onion, which it's in our sort of experience, right? The paradigm of the security onion, which is obviously all these multi-layered defenses.
Layers. It's like Shrek. It has layers.
Exactly. Yeah. In theory, it should work, right? You've got on the front your EDR, you've got your SOC, your SIEM, your SOAR. All of these things should work. In our experience, most companies, when we start working with them, and it's great they're on that journey that they want to massively improve, you often find that beyond that initial perimeter, there's a very soft and gooey inside. So actually, my sort of analogy is that everybody wants to get to a security onion, but most people these days have got more of a security egg, a pretty good hard perimeter, but a very soft and gooey inside. And the minute you're in, you create all manner of damage, which again goes back to that AI piece. If you get through that shell and the inside is all play, it's going to cause issues. So you need to make it from the inside out as well.
Let's talk a little bit more about maybe a different side of this. From our report, we found more than half of respondents said their endpoint security systems their capabilities are entirely sufficient. They weren't so confident in areas like detection and identity management. Where do you still see the biggest capability gaps?
I need to be polite for the vendor community out there. We've yet to have an EDR that we've not managed to breach.
Okay.
I'd actually say it's the other way around. I'd say for the 50% of respondents feel that they are confident in that, that's brilliant. I think EDR as a technology is good. It stops significant amount of threats. And for the advantages that it's brought over sort of the normal AV and stuff, EDR is really good. The challenge or the concern that I have if somebody says, I've got EDR and it's working amazingly, great, but then what? Because an attacker can get past EDR, and then what? And the second point of that was, well, actually on the detection and the response and on the identity pieces, that's the really scary piece. If you're putting all of your eggs in a basket, we're back to eggs again now. Perhaps in US
eggs
politics
and eggs and royal baskets and crown jewels.
Oh, lordy, yeah. But I think when you're looking at that from the way that you're working, right, if you're saying, well, EDR is it, it's great, it's wonderful, but somebody gets past EDR, how soft and gooey is that centerpiece?
Yeah.
And then it definitely goes back to identity. If you look at the breach with the casino that happened 3 years ago, and a lot of those followed, that was somebody going through the IT team, pretending to be somebody, getting their ID and then running through. All of these things, it is the layers that need to be working. You can't ever trust or rely on one portion of technology, one portion of the layer. You've got to have it right the way through. And I think on the actual detection piece, that's got to be tied to immediate automated response to get that timeline as short as possible.
Okay, so hot take then to round it out. Top 3 things organizations should be looking at to do to mitigate data leakage and IP potential leakage concerns within their organization. 3 things that they should keep top of mind to mitigate that risk.
Excellent. I'm now going to have to think of the 3 on the fly. So in no particular order, first one that I'd actually say is, whatever you've got, whatever you've built, think like an attacker. What is the objective that they're trying to do with that data? Do they just want to encrypt it and hold you to ransom? Or do they want to steal it and then effectively either hold you to ransom because they're saying they're going to release it or they're going to sell it elsewhere? Because once you know the objective of an attacker, you can then start to thinking, well, actually, this is what they would do, and then start to think how you're going to stop it. So that's the first one, think like an attacker.
Okay.
The next one is actually test like an attacker too. If the data, your crown jewels, is in the data center and it is in the database, start at that point. If you are right next to that data, can you connect to the internet? Can you exfiltrate that data? Are the protections around that real center, most important portions of your business great? Or are you relying on the assumption that the attacker's got to get through 10 different gates to get there? Because if so, protect it at the source, and it's one of the key things. Even if they got there, it's going to be really difficult for them to create that damage. And then the third thing into this is, if you're doing normal pen testing, if you're assuming that testing the application and going, well, actually, I had this tested this last year, or we did a red team 3 years ago and it was interesting, don't.
Okay.
You need to start testing your business like an attacker attacks. You need to be consistently and constantly trying every portion, not just of your digital estate. You need to do all of your internal estate, going back to that onion analogy. Your people, they're always going to screw up, always. I'll hold my hands up. I clicked on a phishing link on Friday. Got absolutely rinsed at it by the team. But you know what? I was waiting for a DocuSign from a client. An email came through and I clicked on it.
Yes.
But you know what? Our secondary defenses worked. We were able to make sure we mop. So humans will always do stupid stuff.
Right.
Me included. The key thing that you need to do is prove when they do something, because they always will the next and the following detection blocking process work? And not enough people test those pieces. And then the third thing is physical. Your business, so like Jaguar Land Rover, they are not able to work at the moment. They're all taken down. Huge amounts of site. If somebody physically gets onto your premises and connects into that switch or into that port or into that device,
That's it. Done for.
what damage could it do?
Right.
So you've got to test your business holistically through every facet, as an attacker would do, and work back from those objectives, stopping you making the cars, stealing the money, stealing the data, and work back from that.
Well, thank you so much for that. I'm really happy we were able to provide like 3 actionable examples for businesses and various organizations to look at, especially from your perspective, right?
Absolutely,
Who
yeah,
better
definitely.
to give it than you?
Absolutely, yeah. It's yeah.
So if anyone is interested in learning more about some of the facts that we have gained and information from the report, make sure you check out the Work Reborn report, the latest release. The QR code is on the screen, or check out the link in the description. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Indeed, thank you
It's
so
been a
much.
pleasure. Thank
Great
you.
to see you. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Lenovo Work Reborn podcast. To learn more about how Lenovo is helping organizations transform with AI, cybersecurity, and smarter IT solutions, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next conversation. And also, we'd love to hear from you. Make sure to leave a comment with any other questions that you would like us to discuss on our next episodes. See you next time.
Lenovo.